everyone, and welcome back to another debrief of the book Ask and It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires, written by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Today, we will be debriefing Chapter 12, Your Emotional Set Points Are Within Your Control. So, I really like how this chapter starts, and it starts with most people do not believe they have control over what they believe. And I think that that's a really good way to start this chapter, because if I had no prior knowledge to this, I would probably be arguing with, well, show me how, right? Because I have been believing this for such a long time. I've been thinking this for such a long time. And I feel that maybe most of us, or many of us, are in that situation where we feel like a lot of the external things are happening to us without a benefit, right? We only maybe just see a lot of the resistance, a lot of the stress that we may see ourselves, or we may find ourselves doing something, but we don't realize what it says here in reality is the opposite, right? Most people do not believe they have control over what they believe. Well, the opposite is that we do have control over what we believe, right? And that's the reason why it starts that way. And the chapter title says your emotional set points are within your control. What does this mean, right? We get to set the point on our emotional scale, and those are inside of us. Those controls are found within us. Therefore, if I want to live a happy life, I need to be the one that needs to be happy within. And I know, this is definitely a topic for an outside conversation aside of the debriefing of this book, but I know that for a long time, just myself, I didn't used to believe that I could just wake up the next day and be happy, because I truly believed that there was an external circumstance that needed to happen in order for me to be happy, because I was programmed to believe that happiness was, either a milestone, an achievement, a surprise, a gift. It came with something external. It was never seen as an inner work type of deal, right? So for me, I didn't understand, my mind couldn't grasp around the idea of I had the power to be happy tomorrow, even though today has been such an excruciating, painfully emotional day, right? I just didn't understand, how was I going to be happy tomorrow? It made no sense. My problems are not going to be solved. But one of the things that with the time, and even this chapter here says, right? It says here very clearly that this is an attraction-based universe where there is no such thing as exclusion. The harder you push against unwanted things, the more they achieve alignment. And in doing so, these unwanted things come into the experience. So what it's trying to say is, because there's no exclusion, there's no such thing as the word no or I don't want in the language of the universe. It only understands vibration. So when you say, I do not want, for example, myself, I don't want a chocolate cake for my birthday. I hope nobody buys me a chocolate cake for my birthday, because I don't like a chocolate cake for my birthday. Well, because I don't want the chocolate cake for my birthday, the universe doesn't know that. It only knows how I feel. And the way that I am feeling is, I hope I don't get a chocolate cake for my birthday. So most likely on my birthday, I will get a chocolate cake, because the universe is understanding what I'm feeling inside. It's not understanding my words, it's understanding my feeling. And so the feeling is like a feeling of disgust, like, what? I don't want a chocolate cake. Like, I'm not going to be surprised if it's a chocolate cake. So I'm already interpreting what that's going to be like if I were to be there, based on my emotions. So then the universe says, here's your birthday. Today's the day. We've been practicing so long. Boom, here's your chocolate cake, so that you can go ahead and re-experience the feelings you were feeling every time you keep saying that you don't want to have a chocolate cake. So I really hope that you guys were able to see the example within that big long-winded example. And with that being said, we do have within ourselves everything, right? For example, I want to be happy. So just an example, say for example, I have a very tragic death. Now, death is something that has been in my family before, right? And that we all grieve very differently, right? And there is no right or wrong. But you are technically, ultimately, you are right. Whether you want to be down and out in the slumps feeling, depressed and sad, you are right. You have all the right to feel that way. Just like if you say, hey, I decide to empower my story and the end of my siblings or my family members or my friends, and honor them with life, and be happy and honor them by going out for a hike, and just whatever the case may be. So as we can see, they're two different emotions that are going to take us to two different places. One of them is also mourning. One of them is also, within themselves, still going through their stages of grief. But they have understood that if they think negatively and they find that music that's going to make them just be this cycle of this repetitive cycle of going downward. Right now I'm sad, now these memories are killing me, now I'm feeling guilt and shame because I never said these things to this person before they died. Whatever the case may be, you're going downhill. Nothing is really helping you or serving you, getting you out of this emotion and into a different vibration, right? And so we may feel like, oh, but it's not my fault, so and so died, like, but yeah, I get it. Those are external circumstances we cannot control, but we can control ourselves, and we can control the way that it says emotional set point. We also get to control our perception set point, right? Where we decide to stand within this challenge, and in what angle am I deciding to stand on so that I can see the situation a little bit differently. And by seeing it a little bit differently, I can help myself. So that's what I have, my love. How about you? What can you share in regards to chapter 12?
Yeah, so for me, I would say that just basically to reinforce as far as what this chapter is talking about as far as we having control, it talks about, and if you think about it, whether you're feeling just the fact that we can go from feeling really good to feeling really bad, right there, it shows you that we definitely have control. So, you have the total choice of going into a room and deciding whether or not, you know what I mean, especially if it's somewhere you don't want to be, how am I going to present myself? You totally have the choice to say, okay, you know what, I really don't want to be here, but I am going to make the best of this moment and I am going to have a good time regardless. I'm going to do what I got to do, have a good time, and go home and have a good night's rest. So we totally have control over that emotional set point rather than just, becoming consumed of the event of being in, at this party that you really don't want to be at. And, you could just so easily, uh, be pulled to all those negative thoughts like, I don't want to be here, this is going to be awful, this is just going to ruin my night, and just, just really really ruin, and all those things that you're truly saying, those are literally exactly what you're going to be attracting. So just really paying attention to um how you're vibrating, like you're saying, you know what I mean, like the feelings that you're vibrating on, all that negative, yeah, that's exactly what you're vibrating, that's what you're speaking of, and that's what you're attracting. But the moment that you decide to switch it up and change it and take control and say, no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna sleep well. You know what I mean? You affirming all those things really, really, it really changes the script. So I really love what the chapter says with that. And there's only, let me see, there was one more thing I wanted to speak on. So there was something else that this said that I thought was really cool. That it talked about how, regardless of the outcome, of what we may want, as long as we stay in a certain vibration, that's basically what's going to play out. So although you may want this, that, or the other, like you know, whatever result to happen, it might not exactly happen like as that's what as that's I can't even say the word. Um Whatever you're trying to attract, it might not actually happen, but whatever you're vibrating. So if you're vibrating on like good stuff to actually come forth, that is actually what is going to come forth. It might not be that specific thing, but you will still stay in that vibrational set point basically. So you'll still get something good, but it might not be exactly what it was that you were expecting. And honestly, most of the time, I don't know about you all, but it's always normally something even better. So with that being said, I feel like there's just so many amazing things, and just knowing some of these truths altogether is such an advantage for so many of us. So I definitely encourage everyone to definitely, if you don't have this book, please get this book. Please get this book. Please read this book over and over, not just this one time. Be here with us, debrief with us. Feel free to put your comments in. We want to know how you feel about this chapter. How has this played out for you? You taking control of your emotional set point? How does that feel when you do that? Does that empower you to want to do more and really see how you can change your life? So we really love to hear your comments, love your share. So continue growing and sharing this with everyone. And thank you for being here with us. And until next time, we'll see you in the next chapter.